Shadows rise in the dead of night. Ancient whispers call her name. Lost in echoes, lost in time. A past she buried fuels the flame. Secrets carved in blood and stone. Memories she can't escape. In the dark she stands alone, but the mask will seal her fate. Oceans roar, the thunder cries, a power waking deep inside. Lines are drawn, the fire spreads. Will she fight or lose instead? Consumed by it all. The battle's just begun, but the mask won't choose for none. Mari feels the current shift. Truth unravels, scars untwist. A world unknown now calls her in. A war of gods beneath her skin. In the trees, the shadows move. A force unseen but drawing near. Monsters lurking, stories proved. What was legend now is here. Oceans roar, the thunder cries, a power waking deep inside. Lines are drawn, the fire spreads. Will she fight or lose instead? Through the storm, through the pain, through the mist that still remain. Will she rise? Will she fall? Or be consumed by it all? The battle's just begun, but the mask won't choose for none. Through the forest, through the flames, truth and terror sound the same. Blood and dreams you begin to blur. Will the mask belong to her as the dawn begins to break? Destinies they cannot fake. Through the echoes of the past, she will fight, she'll make it last.
From the islands where the sun meets the sea, Jason's the voice we all wanna be. Interviewing creators, making comics come alive. With every story, he helps us thrive. Jason from Hawaii, diving in deep, unveiling the stories that we wanna keep. From creators to heroes, he's got the scoop on the comics for fun and profit loops. So tune in.
Aloha! It's Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I will be interviewing friends of the podcast, the mother and daughter duo team up of comic book creators, Cecilia and Waverly Lim. They are here to promote Kwento Comics' latest Kickstarter, The Mask of Haliya, Volume 2, Echoes of the Forgotten Past. Now, when this interview goes live or airs, the campaign will be live. So please, when you guys get a chance, please check out the Kickstarter page and so forth when this campaign will end. Waverly, welcome back to the podcast. And Cecilia, welcome to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. How are you two doing today?
Thank you so much, Jason, and aloha to all your listeners out there. Thank you for having us on the Comics for Fun and Profit. I like the profit part.
Aloha. I wish that we could be in Hawaii soon. So I am pretending that we are on the beach right now, soaking in the
Mhm.
Hawaiian sun on our podcast.
Now, listener, Cecilia is the founder and CEO of Kwento Comics, and Waverly is the co-founder and the chief operating officers of this amazing publishing company. Now, before we start jumping into the interview, I want to give a shout out to a big shout out to Dustin Holland of Superfan Promotion. Dustin, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes in setting up the interview and for the advanced reading copies. Cecilia and Waverly, would you like to give Dustin a shout out?
Of course. Shout out Dustin, David,
Yes.
Hank Curtis from Clover, our publisher, David from Superfan. They have been doing such a fantastic job holding our hands throughout the entire Kickstarter campaign for
Hmm.
Volume 2, and we couldn't be more appreciative of all of their hard work.
Cecilia, do you want to add anything to that?
No, she got the entire team, the
Hmm.
entire Superfan and Clover team. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, shout out to you guys.
All right. I'm going to just start off is where can listeners find either one of you and also the Cuento comics, where can they find Cuento comics on the internet?
I love the plug in the beginning of the podcast. That's iconic. People can find us at www.quentocomics.com. That is Kwento. Cuento actually means story in Tagalog, as well as at Cuento Comics on all social media platforms.
And you can actually see us in person if you are at C2E2, New York Comic Con, LA Comic Con, WonderCon, the LA Times Book Festival. Did I get them all, Waverly?
And San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, that's going to be
Did I miss
nice.
that? Oh, sorry. San Diego Comic Con.
No.
We will
Mhm.
definitely be there in small press.
Oh, that's
Yes.
going to be
And we will
really.
have volume 2 of The Mask of Haliya out by then.
Oh, okay, that is so cool. Um, Cecilia, I'm going to start off with you, and Waverly just jump right in. Let's talk about already you mentioned that cuento means in Tagalog story. So give us a brief origin of how did you guys um create this new publishing company?
Kwento Comics, well, Kwento does mean story in Tagalog. And in 2019, Waverly and I just did not see Asian stories being told, whether in books, in movies, in comics. And
Hmm.
we really felt it. And the reason is because Waverly's an actress and just didn't even see a lot of Asian movies out there. And this was before Shang-Chi, this was
Yes.
before Crazy Rich Asians,
Hmm.
this was before Parasite. So we were like, where are all our Asian stories?
Hmm.
So Waverly and I
It was
decided,
actually named after a character in the Joy Luck Club, which is
yes.
known for being the first all Asian
Hmm.
blockbuster movie. So that is the true origin story.
Yes, if you watch Joy Luck Club, the bitchy daughter, Waverly.
Oh.
Am I allowed to say that on the podcast?
Yes, you can, but it's just
Oh, okay,
like,
okay.
but how you said, oh yeah, Waverly's name comes from that bitchy daughter, and I was like, oh my God, like poor Waverly.
It's okay. She raised a strong daughter, so it's fitting.
Okay.
But
Absolutely.
absolutely what my mom said is we really wanted to see more representation, and we thought comics were a really great platform because it is so visual, and a
Hmm.
lot of our stories and our culture from the Philippines is just so
Yes.
vibrant that we thought comics would be a really fun platform to explore for both of us. And
Hmm.
Cece and I like to preface all the time that we did not grow up really part of the community. I know my mom grew up reading comics as a kid at the local
Nice.
newsstand,
That's so cool.
but
Okay.
we definitely were nowhere near the consumers that we are now,
Hmm.
obviously now being in the community. So it's been a learning journey for sure, stepping into a new medium. I'm an actress and dancer by trade, stage performer, and so doing pen and writing plus the artwork was something new and exciting for us to learn about.
Hmm. So yes, thank you very much. And then before we start talking about the first volume, Mask of Haliya, um, there's a because Kwento comics, but there's also a symbol on the that's kind of like it, as part of the I guess like the
The logo?
the logo. Yes, thank you.
Our ambiguous Kwento Comics
Yes.
dragon
I,
logo.
I now say it's a dragon slash sea serpent combination.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, but
I
So
think we wanted to keep it a little generic because in Asian mythology, there's so many different dragon, serpent-like
no, that's
creatures that
true.
we kind of almost wanted to be emblematic of all of those deities across the mythologies, if you will.
and as in many Asian mythology, the dragon symbolizes power. Oh,
Hmm.
there you go. Power, good luck, and prosperity.
Hmm.
Again,
Yes.
comics for fun and profit.
That is so cool. That's so perfect. That is so perfect. Okay, let's for our list for new listeners, let's talk about the first volume of the Mask of Hylia. And then I wanted to read this quote from Clover Press publisher Hank um Canals. I'm hoping I pronounced his last name correctly. Quote, I am so pleased to continue with the Mask of Haliya series of books at Clover Press. The ladies at Kwento are telling such a compelling story and one steeped in mythology. We've all grown up hearing stories from our parents, and Kwento is bringing them into the modern light. And I I agree on that. That especially for the Filipino culture, you know.
Yeah.
So um I'm going to start off Cecily, or and like I said, Waverly, just jump right, or for new listeners, you know, um, who is Halia in the Philippine mythology?
Leah is actually a Bicolano moon goddess. And in pre-colonial uh, Philippine folklore, there were 7 moons in the sky,
Hmm.
and Halia was one of them. And then the Dewata, or the god of the sea, Bakunawa, wanted to possess these beautiful celestial creatures, these lunar moon goddesses. And so he started eating them one by one. And then all of a sudden, the people on Earth were like, hey, creator god, Bathala, do something about this. So he stopped Bakunawa from eating the last lunar moon goddess, which is Halia, and and then cursed him to become a sea serpent forever. And that is the origin story. And then, Waverly, if you want to talk about how that translates now into modern day.
Yeah, I love the story of Halia and the mythos that we used for our story because it's actually an explanation for the supernatural event of a lunar eclipse. So Bakunawa actually
Mm.
tried to return many a times and eat the last lunar moon child, Halia. And every time that happens, that was the Filipinos' explanation for lunar eclipses. And I thought that was really poetic and beautiful because the moon has so much symbolism to the divine feminine and feminine energy and the way the tides move with the waves. And obviously, of course, the Philippines is a nation of many islands. And so it was
Yes. Hmm.
beautiful and fitting for our story.
All right, Waverly, I'm going to ask you. So, for the first volume, what is the story about? And I'm going to ask, where does it, not in time, but where does it take place? Because I'm going to say when I start to read the first couple of pages, like, oh, that it's nice that you guys are starting off in this location.
Yeah, yeah. So the story actually takes place in modern day Cebu, Philippines. However, for people who have read it or haven't read it yet, we do take you back in time to a pre-colonial historical timeline as well, which is really interesting. And that was really important to us just because the Philippines obviously has its own history with
Yes.
colonialism. And as Philams, it's something that's still actually pretty fresh, in my opinion, of just unpacking that as a culture and as a
Mm-hmm.
community. So it was really important that we shared a little bit of that side as well and tried to embed that into our story as well. So the story takes place in modern day Cebu, and it starts off with Marisol Reyes, our young Filipina teenage heroine who goes back to the Philippines for her great grand Lola's wake and soon discovers that she comes from a long line of babaylan or shamans, if you will, which were very revered healers back in the day and spiritual leaders prior to colonialism when the Spanish
Mm-hmm.
came. Babaylan practices are still actually found in some regions of the Philippines as
Mm-hmm.
well. So that was fun for us to do some research. But Mari goes on this quest to uncover all of her family's secrets and pasts connected to all these ancient deities.
Waverly's
Um,
trying not to give a lot of spoilers.
I
I
know.
know yeah,
How do
that's
I
the
be specific while being vague,
no,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And then, all right, we already talked about Mari. Cecilia, do you want to add like who are some of the without spoiling, who are some of the other characters in this first volume?
Okay, so in this first volume, well, in the first, yeah, first and second volume, we have Mari.
Mm-hmm.
We have Mari's mother, Cheska.
Mm-hmm.
She's a attorney, kind of aggressive, brings Mari back to the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have Isla, who is a
Yes.
cousin that Mari meets when she goes back to the Philippines. You also meet Auntie Mabel.
Mm-hmm.
She's part of the family. She's kind of like the current matriarch since Lola Talia has passed away. We have some interesting characters who we meet along the way. Eddie,
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Eddie Gonzaga, who's a politician and businessman.
Yes.
We
Mm-hmm.
have Andrea, who has lived with Uncle Eddie for since she was a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not too much of a spoiler, but Andrea is a magic user.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say whether it's good or bad, but she is a magic
Mm-hmm.
user.
Yes.
We have some of Isla. Now, Isla is an interesting character because she has a past
Yes.
and a very interesting past. And a past that she may or may not remember at all times. But there is one character. Her name is Amor, and we find out more about Amor in volume 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right. Um,
And then there's
yes.
other students, and that's in volume 2. We find out we meet some of Marisol's classmates.
Yes, that's no, that's right. That's right. Okay. Now, this is kind of a little bit of a fun question because when I was, when I was reading, I was going, oh. So now there is a term now in the first volume because I know in the first volume in the back of the Lux trade is that there's like your the glossary for Filipino words and so forth. One of the words I saw was, psst, did I get that correct?
Yeah.
I thought it was something else. I thought you're just trying to get someone's attention.
Yeah, it does get your attention. It's more like I don't know if I could say "God damn it" or
Yes, you
"Gosh
can.
darn
Yeah.
it" or "You're being annoying."
Oh,
Sometimes
okay.
you add "yawa" to
Piste
the word
Yawa.
Piste yawa means you devil. You know.
Uh-huh.
It's a
It's
light
inflammatory.
curse word. Yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. All right. No, but thank you for clearing that up.
No, I'm glad you asked, Jason, because we had to ask a lot of our friends and family in the
Mhm.
Philippines for all the swear words because I did not grow up using those words here in the States. So we learned as well.
Okay. Um, one of the things I love about the first volume, and I love it that your writer Caitlin, she's a very good writer for this series. What I love about the first volume is that the tension between Mari and her mother. I mean, literally, I mean, just reading the first two, three issues, it's like it's a little intense, and and like I said, it feels real, you know. And I, that's the thing I love about the dialogue. And like I said, I could feel the tension between the both of them. It's, and also I love, and I'm hoping if I pronounce her name correctly, is it? Isla? Am I pronouncing
Isla.
Isla.
Isla?
Isla. It's pronounced
Isla.
various ways.
So so Isla, I love her, um, that she's kind of the black sheep of the family,
Yeah.
you know. And then, you know, and she's that outsider. And it's just she's great. I love it. The other thing too, there is action, there's drama. The other thing I love about this, the first volume, is that there's supernatural horror vibes to it.
Yeah.
It's I love it. It's great. It you know it
Well,
it
in our
it
mythology, we have lots of very horrific and very scary creatures that when read
yes.
about, I mean, you kind of have to put put it into,
Hmm.
pictures because they are some really, really scary beings. Um, I think Caitlin did such an amazing job really capturing that familial tension that, regardless, any big family, any family
Hmm.
in general
Yes.
really knows that um can understand to a level just how different family dynamics work, and so that was really important for us to make sure that it felt real.
Hmm.
Real and authentic. Yeah, I mean, Marcel is a 17-year-old. She's
Hmm.
kind
Yes.
of figuring things out in
Hmm.
high school, has been through a couple of different schools. So, you
And there's a
know,
lot of Phil-Ams that have that experience of actually being raised here and then going back to the Philippines later, maybe being sent back occasionally.
Hmm.
And so those were all real things and stories from other family experiences that we pulled from.
Oh, okay. The other thing too, I also love it, and I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's an issue either 3 or 4 that, um because Cecilia, like you said, Mari's going through something. She's a 17-year-old girl. She's
yeah,
going through something. She's trying to figure out who she is. The other thing um I love is that, um and it actually is towards actually is the last page, I think, of, like I said, either issue 3 or 4, is that mental health issues among Asian Americans. That was nice that it was touched upon, because you could see the struggles she's going through, you know. And this is an off the cuff question. Was that part of the writing, like part of the story? Like, yeah, maybe we should deal with these types of issues that are currently is happening right now in some of the Asian communities.
I was just gonna say, Waverly, are you taking that or am I taking that?
Well, either,
But it's definitely something that Caitlin purposefully wanted to address. And it
Mhm,
is a big thing in the Asian community that mental health issues aren't always addressed. We like to, sh- sweep it under the rug, if you
yes.
will. You know, going to therapy isn't, looked
Mhm,
on as a positive in the Asian
mhm,
community many times. So yes, this was our way of kind of introducing those issues, into the comic book. And again, we wanted to be authentic in that this is a 17-year-old girl
mhm.
who's going through a lot and doesn't know why.
Yeah, I think a lot of the representation, especially for Asian women, is, being
Yes.
submissive and being quiet. And that's just not how I was as a teenager. I know I was going through all of the emotions,
Hmm.
especially at that age. And so we really wanted to speak to that as well, that
Hmm.
um, we are nuanced and layered beings, as Asian women, and to show a different side of that.
Hmm. And then there, because when you point out, like how you said, like most Asian women are supposed to be quiet in the background, because there's that one page, I want to say it's in issue 3, I think, when Reggie comes over to his boss, is it his boss's house or something, right? He's quote unquote sees the, and I'm doing air quotes, guys, listeners, um, that he sees the maid, and
Drea.
he starts hitting on her, and she, because we see her, just she's literally on her hands and knees, literally kind of like cleaning the floors, he's and he just thinks, oh, she's just hired help, you know.
Right.
And but I because I thought that was, I the other thing about that was that that scene was very well played out. The other thing too, what was very good was um is that that scene, you guys let that scene breathe a little, that full whole page of, him going through, he's talking to her and all this kind of stuff. Um, and also too, this is where it's like I love um each issue is about, and Cecily, we talked about 36 pages. It's, because you guys let the story breathe, which is very good. And I love it too, because, each issue, listeners, you guys, you get your money's worth. But the other thing too, again, it lets the story breathe, you know, and that's what I love about, because then we start seeing a little bit nuances of the characters. We still, um, um, or some of the, the, the horrific, monsters that some of these quote unquote normal people are transformed into, and see how horrific and what they can do. And that, and like I said, it's really great. I love that you guys are doing this. It's not like, okay, we're going to keep it in 22 pages, and, no, no, we got to cut this, we don't
Well,
have time
we
for this.
really appreciate you seeing and discovering the nuances that we threw in with each character. It was really important that this wasn't just your, protagonist superhero story.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
wanted all the characters to feel very lived in, and that each character had their own life breathed into them. And I love that you've found that with an Andrea, because I think in the Philippines, obviously there's a lot of, different domestic help and workers. And it was really important that in this story that we actually gave Andrea some agency and some empowerment
Oh,
in
yes.
her role as, although she on the outside to a lot of people looks like just the maid, she actually is one of the more powerful beings within the organization and under Uncle Eddie. And I'm really, really excited for audiences to discover more of Andrea as the issues go on. I'll leave it
It's
at
definitely,
Yes.
yeah, she's definitely one of my favorite characters as well. And I'll just say this one last thing, she has a very interesting story arc. So readers will have to keep tuning in to find out what happens to Andrea.
And the other thing I have to mention is Caitlin's writing, is um she got me hooked in, and Waverly, and I told your mom, please do not feel offended, but when we're talking about a 17-year-old Filipino girl, and I'm kind of going,
I
I'm
might
maybe
not
not,
relate to this.
yeah, I might not, yeah, but
Totally, totally.
Caitlin, her writing style, her storytelling, even some of the art, it pulls you in, because after issue one, I'm kind of going, I want to see where this goes. And it's like after each issue, it's like, I want to see where this goes. And um
We
like
So our
intentionally leave
cliffhangers
you on a
worked.
cliffhanger.
yes.
Absolutely. But yeah, Caitlin did a fantastic job at really hooking readers, we think, we hope, and leaving them wanting more. That's always the goal, right?
So it's
Mhm,
something that we kind of learned how to do, Jason, through this whole process. You had mentioned that we have a lot of pages in each of our issues, and
mhm,
initially when Caitlin did the first, what we thought was the first issue, we had to cut it up because it was so large. So issue
mhm.
1 and 2 were actually written together, and we
Okay.
actually had to find a break
Yes.
and separate them. And so it became 2 issues. But after that, we got really much better at trying to figure out how to put everything into like 32 interior pages.
Mhm.
Um, Again, it's just something we've learned along the way. And thank goodness I have Waverly here to help me with like all the logistics. That's why she's my COO.
um Cecily, I'm going to start off with you, and then Waverly, like I said, just jump right in now. um Now, the first volume was a very successful Kickstarter. This is going to be a dumb question. What was some of the response from from readers here in the United States and also in the Philippines.
Yeah. What's what we love about going to the conventions is we learn a lot about what people wanted. And when we were at the conventions and we had our floppies, we always got, oh, so do you have a trade? Do you have something that has all of them together?
Yes.
And so when Clover Press found us and wanted to bring us on, they suggested doing the Kickstarter, the graphic novel, and we said yes, absolutely, because
Yes.
it's going to be able to give our fans, 1 through 5 all together. And we had a pretty I won't say a tremendous response, but we had a lot of backers. We had a
Yes.
lot of folks, delving into the Mask of Haliya and learning about it. And so now that when we go to conventions, there, folks who have volume 1 are asking, okay, so when's the next volume?
That's nice.
And so that's why for every 5 issues now we're going to be doing another volume.
That's gonna be
My
nice.
favorite is when people find us for the first time and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this exists," or "I didn't know that the Philippines had, a real big canon of mythology."
hmm
And that's what makes me really happy is just people discovering more about our culture and heritage as Philams and Asian Americans themselves, or, people just interested in, a new indie comic. I love when people are willing to take a chance on something new that's not, one of the big wigs of the comic
Yeah,
industry, of course. And so that's always really nice, is just people are always willing, people that were willing to take a chance on us.
that's really nice. Okay, let's jump right into the Kickstarter, The Mask of Haliya Volume 2 Echoes of the Forgotten Past. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Waverly. Now, this is going to be, is this going to be like a deluxe edition Kickstarter where,
It will be just like the
okay.
last one. We're going to have another glossary section with some new terminology, as well as exploring other mythological concepts within Filipino
Okay. hmm
folklore, as well as a behind the scenes art book, which I've been working on for a while. And I'm very
hmm
excited for people to see because we got to introduce a whole host of monsters in
Okay.
this volume. So I'm very excited. We got a capre, we got a tianak, we got a
Tikbalang.
manananggal, tikbalang.
Yep.
We have lots of really fun creatures for people to explore in this issue for those who haven't heard much about our creatures before.
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna say, like some of the creatures that you've mentioned, are like for our listeners, are they dragons? Are they are they um
A,
demons?
a lot of them, yes, demons for sure, as well as I would say earthly environmental creatures, as well
Okay.
as vampiric creatures. We have a lot of blood-sucking creatures in this.
Yes.
I mean, mythology in general, but especially for this issue.
Mhm.
A lot of this issue is focused around this mysterious forest where these
Yes.
incidences are happening in volume 1, and we
hmm
go into a lot more depth as to what all those cases mean and how they're all tied to our characters
Yes.
in volume 2. And so it was really fun because we got to put in, like, the capre is known as being a tree giant.
Smokes a
There.
cigar.
Oh,
Oh.
yes,
Yes. The
exactly.
Capri smokes a cigar. That's a there's a lot of little fun things that we put into the comic, especially these crazy creatures like the Sigbin. Sigbins love to feast on children and corpses.
Oh.
And
Mhm.
the Manananggal, those are also the creatures, they're females with wings and they split themselves in half.
Oh.
And they prey on pregnant women and they suck out the fetuses with their long tongue. Yes. So I don't know if you can get any more
Terrifying.
horrific and
Jason
scarier
is
than that.
shook.
Because I'm going to say, because I've never heard of, well, because I'm trying to think of, like, even um with Japanese mythology, folklore, because I'm kind of going, there probably is some type of demon or monster that does attack
Oh,
pregnant women, but you never hear of of one splitting in half, and it's like, I just
Yeah, the Philippines likes to take it a step further. I like to say that we're pretty extra with it for sure. But it was really exciting because there was a lot of there was a few monsters that I actually had never heard of that when we got down to doing the research, we were like, oh my gosh, we have to figure out a way to put them in and do
yes.
concepts on this character and make it our own and it Haliya in the Haliya style, basically.
But yeah, let's see what I'm just trying to get my bearings of where, we've already talked
We
about.
we threw Jason off on the monsters, Waverly.
Yes.
He's
He's
like,
speechless now.
I'm scared.
Because it sounds so cool, um because I remember growing up, um we for when I was in grade school, I remember we would I would talk to my friends that we would always say that, like, with Asian culture, especially in well, for, because most of my uh, friends were either Chinese or Japanese, we would talk about how our ghost stories are more scarier than American stories, because American
Yeah.
stories, it's either ghosts, poltergeists, or demon possessions, and
Yeah.
that's it. But with Asian culture, it's like, no, someone knocks at your door and you answer it at 3 in the morning or something, and it turns into some huge creature. It's like, it's scary. And even in Hawaiian culture too,
Yeah.
there's also talks about, there's creatures, that, you never talk, you never want to make sure you never see in the dark, somewhere, on the
You
beach
don't
in
want to
the dark.
disrespect them or where they may
Yes.
reside. And I love that they were always um allegories for life lessons and
Yes.
treating the environment well and making sure that you weren't waking any of them up or disrupting them in any way. And so I love that they were used as fables and tales to actually I don't know, scare children might be the
Yes.
wrong
Oh,
tactic
but
thing
it's,
to say, but in a way, yeah,
At
keep them
home.
safe.
Keep them at
Yeah,
home.
keep them at home and not, yeah,
Yes, and not
in
wandering
the
out in
forest in the middle of night.
right.
not
That
wandering,
would scare me.
not playing out at 10 o'clock at night in the streets, right?
No,
Right. So
once the
that a
sun goes
walk
down, you
walk
gotta
doesn't.
come in.
Yeah, exactly.
um, um, Cecily, this is an off the cuff question. For this volume two, was there any particular storyline that you want to see to appear in this volume, in volume two?
So, volume one for all our readers kind of gives all the foundational pieces. We
Yes.
introduce all the characters. We know who Mari is, and then in volume two, now we've got all these interweaving story arcs. It's not just one story arc,
Yeah.
but there's multiple story arcs that are going on. Um, and to be honest with you, I think one of the fun story arcs, and I think I alluded to it earlier, is Isla
Yes.
and
Hmm.
who she is and why can't she remember things
Hmm.
and what's that all about and who's this, a former band member of hers,
Yes.
Amor.
Hmm.
But
It
Amor
is
now is
called Echoes of the Forgotten Past for a reason. So
Okay.
we will be learning a lot more about these characters and their past,
yeah.
which was fun for us to actually delve deep into in this volume.
Waverly interrupted me because she knew I was going to go to a spoiler or
No,
something. I know
yeah.
it.
You can keep going. No, just spoil the whole book for readers, huh?
No, 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 don't be, because you know, because I read, and it was like, oh, that's really cool. And that was so cool where you guys ended one of the issues, and that's it. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything else, um, but I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna say, let's move away from, because I don't let's move away from the story, because I don't want anything spoiled. So Cecilia and then Waverly, jump in. What are some of the reward tiers for volume two? Like, is there going to be an early bird special, digital copies?
Yes.
Next time. So there will be an early bird special. So all our fans who want to jump on the Kickstarter early, you get rewarded by being able to purchase it at a special price. We will have tiers that it will include digital copies. And then also, if you're a new reader and you haven't had a chance to get volume 1 in this Kickstarter, you'll be able to get both of them, so you can binge read
Yes.
all 10 issues at once. So that's so exciting for us, is to be able to offer folks who have never discovered us yet the ability to dive in deep and learn all about Marisol.
Hmm.
Yeah, we have new products as well. I know we're doing trading cards
That's
and
nice.
new sticker packs,
Hmm.
and I guess people have to go to the page to see the rest of the tiers. I can't give it all away.
That's
Yeah, I
true. Yes.
know.
Waverly, I'm gonna ask, because I'm trying to remember, because I know I think when we did our first interview, a couple years ago, um, will the book be translated into different dialects? Have you guys
That
thought of
is a great question. That has definitely been something on my mom and I's list of things that we would love to tackle. As you know, the Philippines has a variety of different dialects throughout
Yes.
the island.
Hmm.
So it does make it quite a challenge. However, I think
Hmm.
we're up for the task definitely one day. If not in physical copies, maybe through the Hollow Hollow platform.
Yes,
Yes.
and please promote that. That's right. Yes.
Yes. So um Kwento Comics is actually we're actually on this new platform called Hollow Hollow. Myself and a couple of really talented folks in the comic industry, Hank Canals, Will Spartasio,
Hmm.
and Charlene C. are all the founders of Hollow Hollow, and we wanted to create a digital platform where we could bring all these Asian comics to life in a scrolling format. And one of the things that we will be doing is we will be translating in different languages because the app allows us to do that. So that is one great thing. And
Hmm.
so the Mask of Haliya will be one of those that will be translated into different dialects, at least Tagalog for sure,
Oh no, yeah.
and
Yes.
then Cebuano.
That is really nice. That's gonna be, because then you guys are gonna be able to really reach out to readers in the Philippines. Um, and also because because the other thing I was thinking about too is not only reaching new readers in the Philippines, but also too because one thing, because I one of my former coworkers, she became a nurse in the Philippines, and unfortunately, she was trying to move to the United States, wasn't able to, and then she took a job in Saudi Arabia as a nurse. So it's kind of be nice for for it, for um Filipinos around the world, if they're a little bit homesick, they
Exactly.
you know.
And that was the big thing, is that Filipinos are all over the world,
Hmm.
and the Halo Halo app, and you can find the Halo Halo app on the Apple Store and Google Play Store. Right now, we launched at San Diego Comic-Con last year.
Hmm.
But we wanted to make sure that folks in Saudi Arabia or in Ireland could get a touch
Yeah.
of home by getting on the app and reading comics with either Filipino creators or about Filipino stories.
Mhm.
And then eventually, past the Philippines, we'll be involving other Asian verticals as well.
Oh, okay. All right. No, thank you very much. Cecilia, I'm going to ask is, give a shout out to your creative team, and Waverly, jump right in. Give a shout out for your creative team, because some of the art is amazing in there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So
they're incredible.
as we've already shouted out to Caitlin Fahilan, hey Caitlin, awesome job. We're so excited to get all 10 issues out there. We have a fantastic art team in the Philippines. We have Susan Bin is our storyboard and penciler. Susan's amazing. She's actually lives in Texas. We've got Vic, who is in Manila area. I believe.
Mhm.
And then Liz Buenaventura, she is also in the Manila area. Uh, and then we have Kiela, our letterer,
Mhm.
Sing Waves.
Kayla's in Canada.
Wait, Kiela's in Canada. What did I just say?
No, you didn't say where she was at. We got to shout them out because we
Oh,
got a
yeah,
great
yeah. Kiela's in
team.
Canada.
Got to shout out Canada. Come on now.
We've had a couple of different editors on volume 1 and volume 2. We had
Jennifer
Jennifer
Zhang.
Zhang.
Mhm.
She's out of LA. We now have Ariel Jovanos. She's in the New York area, and our assistant editor, Isa, in Texas. So shouting out to all of the creative team.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
We're
Yes,
everywhere.
yes. And it's so cool um that you ladies bring everyone together. Like you said, everyone's living in different parts of the United States, around the world, and you guys created you know, this team to bring this book together. Actually, both volumes, which is that's so cool. I think that's really great.
Thank you.
Um, Waverly, I'm going to ask you, and Cecilia, jump right in. All right, let's say someone misses this Kickstarter in volume two, the Kickstarter campaign. Someone misses out on this. Um, you know, is it how would they be able to is there some way they could probably like try to either do the Kickstarter backer kick or
Yeah,
pre-order on the website? How so?
absolutely. We will have the backer kit up after the Kickstarter is over, as well as a pre-order page on our website. You can also find us at all of the different conventions as well, where we'll
Oh,
be debuting new merch as well. So definitely come visit us at the booth. And you don't have to pay for shipping if you visit us at the booth.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I was just gonna say,
Hmm.
we are carried by Barnes and Noble in the US and Canada. So if you want to go to your local Barnes and Noble
Nice.
store and just tell them to order it for you.
Hmm.
And
Well as
then also
Walmart now.
and then Walmart. And then also in the
Nice.
Philippines, we're in a bookstore called Fully Booked. So I know you can get us there as well, and a couple other comic book stores. So yes, please look for us and ask for us.
That is so cool. Okay. Um, Cecilia, and then like
Yes.
Waverly, jump right in. You know, um, I know you guys cannot spoil anything, but what are some of the exciting things you guys have planned for Cuento Comics' future right now? Besides the two volumes.
Now we have the Mask of Haliya, and
Hmm.
we just got the script for a second series that we're working on. Super excited about that.
Hmm.
We can't tell you too much about it because it's in the beginning stages, but the
Been
script came
developing
in.
it for a while and we're really
Yeah,
excited about the
yeah,
story.
we have another tremendous writer, Stacy. I
Hmm.
forgot to shout out her, Stacy, who's part of our who's doing our second series. We will also be highlighting some Filipino mythology, but it's a different story.
Hmm.
And it's not quite uh necessarily attached, but it is related somewhat to the
Okay.
Mask of Lee, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
We've got a bunch of other projects that we're working on. Waverly, I don't know if you want to mention any of the other um, non-printed projects that we're
Okay,
working
yeah.
on.
We do. We have more projects.
Well, yeah,
Oh, this is exciting. This is new for me.
yeah, we're
Maybe my mom is working on projects without, I think, you know what? I think the thing is, Jason, is that she works overtime. This woman doesn't sleep. It's actually quite impressive. I'm trying to get on her level of grind mode, but I swear she works in the middle of the night on.
Mhm.
So,
Crazy.
so Jason, Waverly's trying not to delve in too much, but
That's fine.
we
Yeah.
have been working on trying to develop the Mask of Haliya for film or television for the past year.
That'd be really nice.
But I'm going to leave it at
Oh,
that
yeah.
because
It's
we are not supposed to talk too much about it. But yes, we've been developing this for a bit now. And things look, super promising because, as you know, the story just pulls you in. And I
Mhm.
think once readers find the Mask of Haliya, they'll want to see it on the big screen or the little screen somewhere.
Oh, but that's really nice. That is so cool. That is so cool. Um, and let's not talk more about that because, you know, we don't want to spoil anything, and we know how sometimes these projects get, start up, and then it's either we wait, for how long. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but
no, it's not a short thing. It's
yeah.
things like that take a while to develop.
Yeah.
But for our fans who have been asking, yes, we've been working on some other projects.
Oh, that's gonna be nice. And
I
that's the
don't know
per
what she's talking about still.
Okay, all right.
I have no idea.
Wink,
Wink, wink.
wink.
All right.
There you go.
So this is the perfect segue because Waverly listeners, I told Waverly before we started because there's a couple follow-up questions I wanted to ask her
Yes.
ever since the first interview that we did. So Waverly, Monday, June 9th at 11:30 a.m. Kevin Feige calls you personally because he heard this interview, all right? And he wants you and Kwento Comics to create a female Filipino superhero for the MCU. One, will you guys accept this assignment?
Yeah, I would be stupid not to. Are you kidding? If Kevin Feige calls, you answer the phone. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I would, yeah, be more than happy to share all my Filipina superhero insight and share all sorts of ideas I have. I mean, and that's the hard part about being a creator is because obviously we always have so many ideas running in our
Mhm.
brain that it is a struggle to stay focused on the task at hand and the story at hand when you have a million and one ideas for projects. So whenever you get a chance to work on something new while continuing your pre-existing story, I mean that's always a win.
All right. Now the fun question. Cecilia, this question is going to be for you, but so for listeners, let me explain. The last time Waverly was on the podcast, I asked her, have you been to Hawaii? She mentioned, yes, her and her family visited Hawaii. She mentioned that she bought the best banana bread she has ever had. She, now, if I remember correctly, you couldn't remember where you guys bought it from or which island. So,
Yes.
Cecilia, do you remember where you guys bought this famous, delicious banana bread from, or what island you guys were on?
Give it to the people.
Oh.
Who are either traveling to Hawaii or live in Hawaii. One of the best, if not the best, banana bread I've ever had, and I think Waverly will agree, was on the island of Maui.
Okay.
And if you go to Maui and you rent a car, the the people at the car rental dealership or Hertz or whatever will
Mhm.
give you a map of where you're not supposed to take the rental car. That is where it's at. We did not listen to the map and we went on this literally one lane road
Mhm.
through the mountains. It's not the road to Hana in
Okay.
Maui. It's on the other it's the place you're not supposed to go. And it's on a mountaintop. It's a little green treehouse type looking
Oh, yes. Okay.
uh look it's like treehouse
Yeah.
and they've got the banana bread and they keep it warm for you and you buy it at the side of the road and hopefully if you're going up somebody else is not trying to come down because then somebody has to back up,
Hmm.
but it is in Maui and shout out to the banana bread people. I wish I knew the name, but that's where it's
Oh
located.
no, you don't know the
Yeah,
name either?
I don't know the name.
Okay, what we're gonna do is we are gonna do some heavy research and we
Yeah.
will get it to Jason and hopefully he can throw it in the show notes somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, but there is a guidebook to the island of Maui. It's a blue cover, and in one of the pages, I think it mentions it. So
I'm sure it does. But because I remember Waverly was talking to me about it was like you guys were on this dangerous road. It was, and I thought it
yes.
was the road to Hana, but
No, no,
it's
it's
but
not the road to Hana. It's a road to Hana you can actually drive on. This
yes,
road you're
yeah.
not supposed to drive.
It's not okay. So I did a quick Reddit search, Cease, and someone asked best banana bread not on the road to Hana. And this one they said Auntie Sandy's? Auntie
Oh,
Sandy? Was it
oh,
that?
I have no
it
idea. I
might
can't remember
be.
the name. I just know where it is on the map. If you showed me a
Hmm.
map of Maui, yeah, because it makes a circle, right?
Okay, but I wouldn't doubt it. It probably, but it's kind of funny that it's the best banana bread. They're selling the best banana bread on Maui, but yet it's like you have to risk your life to go get it.
'Makes
100%.
it so much fun.
I did find another one that's a green shack as well on Google, and it's called Julia's Best Banana Bread.
That's it. That's it. Julia's.
Julia's
Julia.
okay.
I
Oh,
think we found it.
Yes, I think you
okay.
found it. Thank
It
you. I
looks
just
so
remember the
legit
green.
too.
Yeah, I just remember the greenhouse type thing. Was it green?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Julia's.
All
Yes.
right. So listeners, or if you guys are visiting Maui, it's Julia's dangerous road just to go get very good banana bread. All right. Last question, Cecilia. I'm gonna start off with you and Waverly. You can wrap it up. Any closing words to our listeners?
Closing words to our listeners. You know, we've been we this started off as a passion project, and several years ago we just wanted to tell, an epic story. And I think we've done a good job in creating a very fun ride for our readers,
Hmm.
to dive in. It's categorized as a dark urban fantasy,
Hmm.
but it's much more than that.
Yes.
It's really a coming of age story. It's got a little bit for everybody. It's got a little bit of romance. It's got a little bit of horror,
Hmm.
for anybody who likes to learn about new mythology. So I just want to say to anyone listening out there, if you have not picked up the Mask of Haliya and you just want to try it, please support indie comic book creators, because we're trying to do something different and bring stories that people may or may not have a chance to read about. So waves, I don't know, did I capture anything, miss anything?
No, that was phenomenal. Yes, this did start off as a passion project, and I think it's really important for anyone listening that you spend your time here doing what you love. And I just hope that we can be a beacon of light in that way, because I'm really grateful that my mom and I found something that we felt really passionate about,
Hmm.
just sharing more of our stories. And I'm so grateful that she wanted to take that passion and really do something with it, and put action behind the idea, and just to be brave enough to start. And so for anyone out there looking for, a little extra encouragement, just please, by all means, start, especially if you're passionate about it. I think sometimes we feel like with social media and the internet, and just it's so crazy how much is out there. It can feel like such a oversaturation sometimes, but I promise that there is space for everybody's story and voice. So just start.
Waverly, Cecilia, mahalo. Thank you for thank you in Hawaiian. Thank you very much for your time, for giving me an opportunity to interview you. And I'm gonna say thank you for making comics. And the reason I am saying this is because, Waverly, like you said, there's someone out there that probably has this passion. They want to write comics. And and it may be that young Filipino girl that's 10, 12 years old is kind of going, I want to write comics, but I don't know where to start. Or, you know, so do I have to just work at, the big wig companies? you know, you know, but they can just start by, just at least just start the process of writing at least. Um, and there's someone out there that's going to come across this series, will connect with Marissa and be inspired by you know by you two ladies to write their stories, to write about their cultures, to share it with others. So it's just, I want to say thank you very much. Thank
Mahalo, Jason. Thank you as well for
Yes,
this.
Jason, thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Thank you, listeners of the podcast, for spending, the time,
you. Mhm.
whether you're at home or driving in your car. I hope you enjoyed listening to us and our story.
So thank you very much. I want to give Dustin again, Dustin, thank you very much for setting up this interview. I want to thank Drew, the Close of Comics for Fun and Profit, for putting this episode together. Drew, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes. And if you are a new listener, please check out new episodes of Comics for Fun and Profit that comes out every Saturday. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys. Aloha.
Aloha.
Shadows rise in the dead of night. Ancient whispers call her name. Lost in echoes, lost in time. A past she buried fuels the flame. Secrets carved in blood and stone. Memories she can't escape. In the dark she stands alone, but the mask will seal her fate. Oceans roar, the thunder cries. A power waking deep inside. Lines are drawn, the fire spreads. Will she fight or lose instead? Through the storm, through the pain, through the myths that still remain. Will she rise? Will she fall? Or be consumed by it all? The battle's just begun, but the mask won't choose for none. Mari feels the current shift. Truths unravel, scars untwist. A world unknown now calls her in. A war of gods beneath her skin. In the trees the shadows move. A force unseen but drawing near. Monsters lurking, stories prove. What was legend now is here. Oceans roar, the thunder cries. A power waking deep inside. Lines are drawn, the fire spreads. Will she fight or lose instead? Through the storm, through the pain, through the myths that still remain. Will she rise? Will she fall? Or be consumed by it all? The battle's just begun, but the mask won't choose for none. Through the forest, through the flames, truth and terror sound the same. Blood and dreams begin to blur. Will the mask belong to her? As the dawn begins to break, destinies they cannot fade. Through the echoes of the past, she will fight, she'll make it last.